time.
Yeah.
We good? We good?
Good. Everybody's booming.
That's
Cool.
boom.
So,
Booming.
like, here we are.
Hi, we're back.
We are back. We're
Hello,
trying
hello.
to keep this consistent. I promise you
Yes.
guys. And Sammy's been on my ass, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing because
Yes.
I need it. You know,
Yes.
I say this all the time. We love to do this podcast. It's just about being consistent.
Yes.
You know, it's trying to stick with the schedule, making sure that we have good topics, and so we're going to kind of chat afterwards about keeping that 100 all the time,
Flowing,
making sure
yes.
that you guys are, you know, down to listen, that you guys are interested in listening, and that we're bringing you the best topics that really kind of suit your soul.
Yes.
So
Yes,
my name
yes,
is
yes.
Leah. This is Between the Sheets with Leah, and I am your hostess with the mostest. Don't let me get on this mic.
There she go.
Here I go. I am a photographer. I'm a mother. I'm a wifey.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're going to be talking about that today a
Yes.
little bit.
Let's do it.
I am an action taking, money making, manifesting queen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
have my co-host.
I'm Whitney, WHITNEY, period, poos. Welcome back. I'm so excited to share with y'all today.
Yay.
And we got our other co-host.
Yeah.
Baby Sammy Black with a Q.
Yes.
Because I'm cool like that today.
Ooh.
Love. So
Yes.
you guys, we're gonna jump right in, and I think it's really important to kind of jump right in.
Yes.
It's one thing that I've been thinking about is that, you know, people are like, well, what are you guys talking about today? Do
Yeah.
I want to listen? Is it relevant to me? Is it not relevant to me?
Oh.
So
right.
we're just gonna jump right in.
Just
and-
listen and shut up.
I
I'm
know,
just
right?
kidding.
Maybe you find out.
I'm just kidding. Just listen.
We love you. Actually, listen
do.
to us.
I
please.
love you.
It's about the realest you could get right here,
Yes.
okay?
Yes, it
Okay?
is.
It's the realest right here. So, you guys, today is my anniversary.
Yay! Do you know
I did it earlier.
today is
It's your
anniversary.
made for you
and me.
21 years.
Woo.
21 years married.
That is
24
amazing.
together.
Huge.
Ooh.
Wow.
24 years.
24 years.
Wow.
Put that in. That's 2 decades and some change.
Facts.
That's a
Facts.
lot of time.
That
24 years
is.
with the same man.
Ooh, hallelujah. So let's talk about that.
So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that because, you know, we were talking last week about loyalty, and that's a huge part of
Yes.
relationships, right?
Yeah.
And we're also going to be speaking about how you sustain a healthy marriage, how you sustain a healthy relationship. So even if you are not married, but you are seeking out a relationship,
She's
and
talking about me.
you,
a lot of people, though, you ain't alone.
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, the norm nowadays is that, you know, either you're done after 5.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
know.
If you can make it to
If you
5.
can make it,
If
yeah.
you can make it to
Shit,
5.
I made it to 10 and it still didn't work.
Yeah, and,
Ooh,
and 10, I feel like is that breaking point. 7 to 10
yes.
is that breaking point of like,
We gonna do this or not?
Right.
is this or not? Like,
Right.
you know, are we good? Are we not? And
Yeah.
a lot of people just kind of throw in the towel and
Yep.
they, you know, throw it together or go find another.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you still
Ooh.
take you into the next relationship.
Yes, you do.
Ooh, hallelujah. Yes.
So, you know, it's a lot
Don't
of
be a bag
self-work.
lady.
So I really
Don't miss
want
your
to.
bus.
Yes.
Carrying all them stuff.
What?
That's right. You know, so let's talk. Let's kind of go. And I want you guys, I'm going to have an open forum for you guys to ask me any questions that you would like, because
Okay.
I know that you have listened to some of the prior podcasts and people are kind of peeping in on the relationship and know a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Right.
You know, Dana was the one that like dived
Right.
in. Like,
Right.
I was
Right.
like, okay, Dana.
We're
right.
going there.
Nosy.
Nosy
Yes.
Rosie.
Yes, he is.
Jeez. Nosy Brosy.
Yes. Yeah.
But, you know, I'm going to give you guys the open forum to be able to ask whatever kind of questions you guys want. Sammy, how long have you been married?
14 years.
14. All
That's
right,
a
girl.
long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah,
a lot invested.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. You are investing. And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm only going to say this once because people, you know, the black don't crack. They might forget next year.
Right. That's right, girl. Go ahead. Shoot on it.
Okay, I'm 35. I'm 35, so I got
mid-30s.
married.
You do not look 35.
Thank you. I'm trying to keep it
Both
that
of you guys
way.
are babies. I'm like,
Look,
but you guys
I
look
am
like
20
babies. You're going to stay looking like babies. And
I am
I'm not
25
jealous.
for the rest of my life.
I know,
25.
right?
25.
25.
That's
I'ma
what I'm
stay-
sticking to.
That's why I'm thinking I'm sticking with 35. I'm gonna just stay
Until
here
I can
forever.
push, until they be like, you're not 25 years old. And I'm going to be like,
Yeah, you're right. I'm
You-
27.
I love.
right, I'm 30.
I personally would not want to go back to my 20s.
no?
No.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back to my 20s and do it differently. I wish I would have stayed young instead of being like instant housewife, instant this, instant that, and would have like lived my life a little bit.
Girl, the urge to grow up so fast.
It was,
And then you get here and you be like, oh, wait.
I don't like this.
Never mind.
I don't want to do
And
this.
how many times do we tell our kids that, like, don't grow up too fast?
Slow down, baby.
We didn't listen, they ain't gonna listen. So
No.
Lord
absolutely
help us.
true. But no, I don't think I would go back into my 20s. And, you know, part of the reason is that the 20s in my relationship was a very, very tough time as well. I didn't quite know myself either.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really even start figuring me out until I was 27, 28 years old, when I really started to do my self-searching, my self-work, learning what the hell self-work was,
Right.
you know, because up until that point, I was just doing mom, wifey, working, doing everything that you were supposed to be doing.
Right.
So
Right.
it wasn't until that time where I picked up the love for photography, the love for, you know, dancing, Zumba, you know, relationships within my friends, and as selfish as it sounds, but pulling away from being honed down into that family, mom, person, wifey, woman,
right.
And being like, okay, well, who am I outside of
But
this?
that's what I love so much, because when you, at least the people that I was around when I did get married, they always told me, you know, you're supposed to be about your household. You're supposed to be about the relationship. You're supposed to be about your spouse. And that is something that I struggled with in the first marriage. I didn't take that time that you took. I didn't take the time to be like, what do I like? Instead of just always doing for somebody. It's so important that you say that you have to find you.
Yeah.
In your relationship.
Because you will find yourself where you you lose yourself.
Right,
You know what
right.
I mean?
So I think that's true, because I definitely lost myself the first maybe 7-8 years of my marriage, like maybe the first half. Totally lost myself. And in the second half, I spent a lot of time finding myself, figuring that out. And now I'm at a place where I understand that there is absolutely nothing more important than family. Nothing, like tying back to that conversation about loyalty.
Yes.
Like, to be married 21 years or 14 years or 10 years, like, you go through some stuff.
Yes.
There is stuff
Yes.
that happens, like real life trials, and it be hard. And at the end of the day, the people that you're going to be sleeping next to, the people that are still going to love you regardless, like that family is the most important thing.
Yes.
Things come and go. Some relationships and people come and go, but your family, your husband, your kids, like, that stays a lot of times.
Yeah.
you know?
And sometimes not. A lot of
Sometimes it
times.
don't.
Yep.
You're right.
Yep.
You know, I think it's really important. So I think if I were going to say step one into a good
Yes.
relationship, step one
Give us the tools,
would
Leah.
be first and foremost to know and love yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to know and love yourself, because,
I
you know, you
agree.
can go to one extreme or the other. You can go to one extreme of putting everything and every part of you, who you are, into your kids, you know, and there's mothers out there like that, which, again, I'm not knocking you. I'm not, but then you find yourself just being at it, and you don't have any other activities for you outside of that, you know, and
Well, and then you find yourself in situations where you've been married for years and your kids are getting ready to go off to college, and you don't know who the hell you're sleeping next to no more, because you've been so invested in your
Yes.
children
Yeah.
that
Right.
you're not present in your marriage, and now you guys are forced to be around each other.
Ooh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's men and women. Both. It's not just about the woman getting to know herself. It's a man too, because we just
Yeah.
read a meme that basically said
Yes.
a man marries a woman in hopes that she'll never change, but a woman marries a man in hopes that he will.
Yeah. It's facts.
That's so true, though.
You know, and so evolving in a relationship is important as long as you're evolving together.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Because if you're not growing together, you're growing apart. It's
That's
just
right.
period.
That's right. And that's a tough thing, because, you know, I'm a go-getter. I'm a, you know, stay on, like, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving.
Yes.
And Nando is very content in, you know, what we built and what we have. And I'm not saying that's not a good thing. There's definitely complimenting each other in a relationship
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
so many compliments that he brings to me and I to him. But making sure that evolving can be something as simple as, you know, learning how to communicate and what you used to, because the one thing that we never really got into too deep is that, Nando and I had domestics.
Right.
And we had, major fights. I was 17 years old.
Word.
17 years old when I met this man, coming out of one relationship, going right into a next one, and I didn't know what it was like to be alone. I haven't really been alone. And I'll be honest, I tell people all the time, like, I don't know if something were to happen, how I would act alone.
Right.
I don't, because I've always had somebody by my side for the most part. And so I jumped out of one relationship into the next one as a child. And I'm going to say that, teenager, child, whatever. I was a young girl.
He was a baby.
Yeah.
I was the baby. And, communication was fighting and screaming and throwing things and throwing blows sometimes and just acting ugly.
Yes.
Ugly. And so we had to grow through that whole portion of our relationship and learning, like, okay, that doesn't work.
Right.
We're gonna, and I mean, I got, I was, have you ever seen the movie Mommy Dearest?
Oh my God, I love that movie.
Yeah.
So I have this tendency to like build up this rage within inside of me. And I'm pretty like this, everybody that knows me knows that I'm pretty consistent like this. I'm like straight, like good, like, I love consistency. But when I blow, I blow. And even my kids will say, I'm more scared of my mom than I am my dad all the time, because, dad's kind of like blah all the time.
Right,
like,
right.
It's get on the boys, you know what I mean? And mine, it's that like, okay, like I'm right here.
You're right. I'm to my limit.
Don't push me.
But I also learned how to communicate that, because I never used to communicate that and say, I'm getting to that point where like I'm going to blow my shit.
Yes.
And I've learned to communicate that with him. Like, look, my level is right here.
Yes.
Nando used to leave when we would get upset.
Oh, that shit drives me up the wall.
And I don't know, I'm going to say two different ways here, because you've also been in domestic.
Oh yeah.
And I want to talk to you about that, because the thing is that there is a time to leave. There is a time to leave.
Yes.
There is a time to cool off and walk away and, get away from the situation. And then there's maybe a time to go to the other room. But what I will say is that regardless, what Nando learned with me is that when he decided, because my mind was someplace else.
Right.
When you left, that leaves an
That's
opening
where I'm
door
sitting. Yes.
to where are you going? Who are you going to go talk to? What are you doing? You know what I mean? Are you going to act out of anger and go do something stupid? So then I spiral. And Nando learned that about me. And he said, that one thing that he really did differently in the future of our relationship was when he left, he said, look, I'm at the park. I'm letting you know. I'm down the street. I'm at the park. I need to cool off.
Right.
And it would just kind of, that's it. Like, give me that space.
Right.
And I also had to learn to be like, okay, because I'm that type of person.
No, right now. We're going to talk about it now. Don't leave.
And I'm going to cut up. You better turn your phone off.
Yeah.
Because what I'm texting, calling, I'm going to get in the car.
Where are you at? Let's go.
I've been into some rough, our fights in my last marriage were very aggressive. And I don't mean to talk about this in a negative way. I'm talking about it from a side of growth now. But the person that I was with suffered from some mental illness issues, bipolar, PTSD severely. So when we would fight, our fights were aggressive. And the blow up was always humongous. I remember a specific occasion where my patience was very thin. And if our guests listening, if you've ever dealt with somebody who deals with mental illness, it's a roller coaster for not just the person experiencing it, but the person that's actually fighting with that person as well. Not being able to see you're on a mental spiral right now, and I don't need to entertain that. I need to step back and give you your space. Oh, young Whitney was not trying to do that. You're going to hear me. You're going to hear what I have to say because you pissed me off. And now we're about to fight. And it got to a point, where, guns were involved, threats were involved, suicidal threats were involved. And looking back on it now, the words that came out of my mouth in those conversations were so disgusting. But I was so done. Yeah. Like with the arguing and the level of it and the leaving and the no communication and but just the nastiness that we would say to each other and how we would fight. It's ugly. Yeah. It's ugly. And those are residue stains that you have to clean up before you go into the next relationship, because that's where my trust issues are now. Oh, you're going to leave? that brings me right back to that same moment.
And, you know,
Facts.
we talked, I think, about this upstairs, or you had brought it back up, you know, because I say this, and because I really, really thought about it. You know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And I'm thinking,
That's a lie.
Who thought of that? Like, that's so, you know, we used to say sticks and stones break my bones. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, then you really think about it and you're like, words are so hurtful. They're so impactful.
Yes.
Actually,
They
the
are a
power
weapon.
of life and death is in the tongue.
That's right.
Yes.
Actually, if you told me something when I was a little kid and I was trusting and believing you, like that could hurt me all the way up until now, present day. You know, if I don't get right within myself and, like you said, go on that soul searching to like learn to love myself and correct all that. But the things that we say to people, it can really hurt.
They're like
them.
cuts. The marriage counselor that I went to after the divorce, when I was trying to fight with her, it was like, she described your marriage. She's like, your marriage is like a vase, right? Like a crystal vase. And you and your partner have actively picked up that vase and thrown it on the ground and cracked it. And then you tried to glue it together and glue it together. And she was like, you keep picking up that glued together vase and throwing it into little pieces. You're not going to be able to put that shit back together. Those cuts don't go away. Those stay. And very rarely are those cuts sealed and healed properly. And that was the biggest lesson for me. I was like, dang. So when you think about it like that.
Physical abuse.
Yes.
You know,
Verbal abuse.
and verbal abuse. I mean, they're really hand in hand. Now, of course, you know, physical is, you know, that's a totally different ball game, you know, because people have, you know, gotten to the point where, you know, the violence in the relationship has, you know, and some women are staying and things like that. But and again, we are not definitely saying stay in something like that. If you're experiencing, you know, physical abuse in a relationship, like, you definitely need to get out or get help.
Talk to somebody.
Right.
Yes. And vice versa. It's not just females. Males go through physical and verbal abuse just like females do. So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
It's true.
So first and foremost, get to know yourself, because, you know, many of these relationships start at an age where you are very young and you're growing together. You're starting out at this young age and you're growing together, and yet you still have to figure out a way, even though you're together, to be able to separate yourself from that relationship and figure you out as well.
So my question to y'all then is, how does one get to know themselves? How does someone like really know what's in here? I know for me, that's like the biggest question. Like, who am I?
That's still a constant question in my life. And to be honest with you, I really didn't start addressing it until I was pulled from the situation that I was in. I didn't have a choice. I was forced to look at myself in the mirror and be like,
unfortunately, that's how a lot of people do find themselves, is through turmoil, through trauma, because they are ripped away from it, or something is, you know, taken away, and so then they have to figure it out. I always say that if you can be observant, you know, be observative. Somebody teased me and said if that was a word or not, but it's my word. So if you can be observative, so it's yours. People and watch the do's and the don'ts, as opposed to going through it. You know, my husband and I have watched people that we also grew up with, you know, that were in relationships, one by one dwindle off. And it's sad. It's such a sad thing to be like, ugh, they didn't make
Joe
it.
talked about that on his Joe talked about it on his podcast that we did, and he was like talking about him and Tasca and being like, look, we beat another one. And they celebrate together, which I love that. So I love that you guys do that.
It's tough though. It's, you know, you start to see it and it makes you a little bit uneasy, like, okay, you know, like,
what are we gonna do?
Yeah, okay, we're pushing this many years now. Like, you keep going, you know. But we have watched so many people dwindle off, and it's just a really sad thing, because these started off as young relationships as well, and they either didn't evolve or somebody was unhappy in the relationship. So let's talk about why relationships fail.
Right. I feel like it's communication.
Sheesh.
I mean, we could think of 100 different excuses, correct?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it all boils down to communication.
What would you say the top 3 reasons why relationships fail are?
Communication with sex, communication with how the other person is feeling, and growing. Like, if you're not talking, your spouse is going to be majority 10-1 communicating with somebody else. And I don't mean cheating necessarily, but that conversation is being had with somebody.
If it ain't with you, with somebody.
It's going to be with somebody.
Okay.
What would you say, Sammy?
So the research that I've done, I agree that not being able to talk about these issues is probably at the root. But I think the reason that people cite as their irreconcilable differences are money, sex, like infidelity or something like that, cheating.
Or lack of,
And then the third one, I don't know. I think that, like you said, there's got to be a compatibility or just like a not happy getting along. And so you just kind of
check out.
Or you know what I would even say, maybe even like family issues, like you disagree on the kids.
Very true. Yeah. I guess that could be, especially if you're further into the relationship and you and your partner have butted heads on all these other areas, and now this is also
kids too, right?
It's like the last nail in the coffin.
Or if you have kids from a previous thing and then it's not going well.
Blended families, yes. Yeah.
So the number one cause of divorce, and you know, this is per statistics 2021, let's just say, because we're not, would be infidelity.
Oh, infidelity is number one.
Damn.
I thought it was number two. Okay.
Conflict, arguing, abuse, some type of, so that all I think boils down to communication. That all boils down to not evolving, not growing, not learning.
Right.
Money. Financial is a huge reason. It used to be number one.
Yeah.
But that was one of the biggest reasons why marriages fail, because somebody might be all about money. Somebody may not be. Somebody may be feeling insecure. Their partner's not making enough, or they want more, and the partner's not.
The other partner doesn't. Or
they're not moving. But I just want to read to you guys really quick, just some of the top reasons, if I can find this little, religion too, just so you guys know. Religion is also another
which I feel like is a good thing. That's the things those are the things that you say we need to always communicate with when we're meeting somebody.
But again, like smirk, we probably should talk about that before we get married. But
and then this begs an issue from the single side of me. I bring up smirk to somebody and they're instantly, oh, you want to be in a relationship? No. I just need to know where you're at.
And hold on, wait. What if you I don't want to waste my time?
So what? Right?
Like, let's just not waste time. Like, it's not about just being in a relationship. It's like, look, if we're just not compatible, let's find out now.
Right.
As opposed to wasting months.
Some guys get offended by it or get put off by it.
Then that's their own damn issue.
Because those are the people that are like commitment phobes.
Yes.
The players, the ones that want to play games and play with a bunch of people. I ain't got time for that. You know what I'm
and
saying?
unfortunately, from what I hear, that is the norm.
Yes.
Because it is so easy to get online, to go look at a picture, to go, and here's what gets me, okay? And
swipe
I know
left or right. Yes.
I know somebody talked about this in a rap song at some point or something like that, but it's the truth, because men say all the time, like, oh, we want a women in the streets and a freak in the sheath. But what you're looking at says something completely different. Yes. What you like to look at, what you are seeking out, that says and speaks something totally different. You're looking for, like a complete hood chick, like, and I'm saying that with like, look, but you want this. Oh, I want a relationship. I want a good woman, but you ain't looking for a good woman.
That's not a good woman in the way she's acting and carrying herself.
Like,
so I'm
this
confused.
is what you like to look like. Yes. So what do you really like? You like the idea of a good woman. You like the idea of settling down. You like these ideas, but does your heart a heart? Because the word says that, and correct me if I'm wrong, it says that basically where your treasure is, your heart is.
Where your heart is.
Yes.
Okay. And so if your treasure's in looking at, big booty shaking, and there's some hoes in this house.
Then
that's where your heart is.
You stay faithful in a room full of hoes.
And when you are so apt to looking at those things, which is so easy to look at nowadays.
Yep.
Swipe left, swipe right.
Yep.
How easy is it to continue to do that even when you find a good woman?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm seeing is that people want everything. They want it all. They want someone that can pop pussy and shake their ass and still cook and clean and only sleep with them.
Still be home on time, be faithful. Let's get up after we shake our ass, go to church. Like, yes, all of it. They want the whole thing. And
is there something wrong with that if you're in a committed relationship? Can't you do that?
No. The marriage bed is undefiled. Like, no. If you're really in there with someone.
Let's talk about that scripture really quick. Let's talk about that scripture. The marriage bed is undefiled.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's word.
Yeah.
I mean, in the context of marriage, like, I know a lot of people, they get real prudish, you know, and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that, or like handcuffs or whips, toys, or you know what I mean?
I don't want him to know I like that.
Or men are insecure about a woman bringing in a toy.
Yes. Men can be insecure about it too.
So insecure. I've had that happen.
Like, you need what? What is that?
Why are you pulling that out? I said, because you're not doing what I need you to do.
Well, but I don't know if I would say it like
but
that.
That's what I said. So he did get offended. But I mean, you weren't doing what you're supposed to do, so I'm not wasting this.
But in the context of a marriage, it's like, that's okay.
Now,
it's okay for us to do
repeat that again. In a context of a marriage.
In a marriage, because the marriage bed.
Yes. Not
I don't mean that you are free to be just like,
not your loving bed.
The bed is undefiled. You know what I mean? But you single. Okay.
The marriage bed.
The marriage bed is undefiled, which means that if I want to be a freak in the sheets,
right,
my husband,
you are allowed to.
You
need
Absolutely.
to. I mean, because sex was God's idea.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we came up with. God said, "Go forth, multiply."
Well, and I know this.
That was
this
his idea.
turns
And
the
he made us to fit
conversation
together.
I know this turns the conversation all the way left, but then that brings up another conversation or a conflict that could be within somebody's marriage, which I'm finding out now being single. And I don't know any other way. We're real, we're raw in here. So if I offend somebody, I'm sorry. But limp dick it's a thing.
Wow.
It is an issue that men deal with a lot. And
I don't even like that verbiage. I'm just going to be honest.
The medical term is erectile dysfunction.
Because that can make a man feel super, super insecure.
It can, but how do you talk about that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be married to, I mean, we need to figure this out.
Well, and what if you are? What if, like, for the first 10 years of your marriage, everything is good, and then the last 10 is that, you know, this is a real issue.
How do you have that conversation?
What if it was dry? We were dried up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
and that's also a thing.
Yes. And we have to be able to, like, say, okay, look, what can we do to make this better?
Yes.
You know, you have to work those problems out together. You can't just be like, okay, well, I don't want to be with that. Like, that's not, I'm done. Like,
that doesn't work.
Right. So if the marriage bed is undefiled for even like the freaky stuff, like, okay, we can, you know, role play, we can dress up, you know, then that means we should also be able to talk about our problems.
Yes.
And what I want differently and what you need that's different, you know?
So one of the leading causes of divorce is money. Okay.
Yes.
Is going to be sex.
Yes.
Is going to be communication, abuse, of course, infidelity. Okay. So that's kind of what we're really going to hone in on this.
And let me just say,
we're on
I think
sex
that
right now,
sex and infidelity are tied together.
Yes.
Because you wouldn't step out of your relationship if you were pleased in your relationship.
100%. I say that all the time. I say it all the time.
What if they're a sex addict?
Ooh, no. And a lot of times I feel like they don't know.
Because let's talk about
different.
that. They're men
addiction.
and women deal with addiction with sex.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
That's a real deal. It's also a huge. You know, Michael Todd talked about.
Yes.
You know, he was addicted to pornography.
Yeah.
And once you open up that door, it's very hard to close it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to close.
Well,
it.
and I'll beg the question and ask, and I'm curious if he brings it up. Is it, okay, you find out your significant other, your husband or wife, vice versa, likes porn.
Right.
Do you open that door to share it with them and do it together? Or is that creating something bad?
I would.
I mean, I feel like as long as you have good communication, again, with your significant other, you create your boundaries, you create your rules, you create the narrative.
Right.
And you both are being in agreement to it. So that's one thing.
So this is where I would say, do you want spiritual Leah to speak on that?
Both.
Or do you want...
Are y'all not the same?
No.
I want both. Well, it happened in my first marriage. I found porn on his laptop.
Okay, so
and I immediately got offended. One, by what I found, what he was watching. And then two, I felt like, I'm not doing my job as a wife if you're doing this. So then I brought it up and said, you know, we can do this together. This is not something you need to hide.
I say that, Sammy, it's a real question. Is it a different person? Is it not that it's a different person? It's just that there's no judgment,
Yes.
number one.
Yes.
Right, of
You know,
course not.
we don't have this judgment game here. It's like, hey, to each his own. But there's two different ways to answer that question.
Right.
If you're asking the secular person, if you're asking the worldly person, then yeah, I want to do everything that I can to please my husband.
Right.
Absolutely. You know, and if this is what it needs to be, that we're going to be doing this together, then that's for us. And if it were to keep you from doing it by yourself,
right,
or going out, then of course, then I would. But what did Jesus say? He said that if you look at a woman with lust in your eyes, and you've already committed adultery in your relationship.
Yeah.
He said, you don't even have to step out, because Old Testament was basically like, you're committing adultery when you pair yourself with another person. But Jesus said, as soon as you lust with your eyes and look at another individual, then you've already created adultery in your heart.
And that's how I feel. You have an intimate conversations. That's just as bad as having sex with somebody, in my opinion.
And let's talk about how many relationships have opened up that door and then could not close it.
Right. Right.
And that's a real deal thing, because we may be innocently thinking, because we know that the enemy comes in and it says that if you give him 1 inch, he steals miles.
Yeah.
So we think, hey, this is safe, this is good. But now I've opened up my husband's eyes to all of this other stuff. And so now he starts looking at women like, I wonder what's she about?
This is allowed.
You know what I mean? Like, you can mess your relationship up by opening up these doors. Let's talk about men and women that bring in another individual into the bedroom, because they say, hey, this is okay. This is undefiled in the bedroom, right? So if we're both saying that this is okay together and it's undefiled in the bedroom, then what have we also opened up the door to?
Wow.
Because I know many couples, personally, many couples who have opened that door and then caught their spouse cheating afterwards. Even after they said, look, I'm going to do anything that I can for you. I'm going to open this up to you. And then they like that. Mm-hmm. And so then they said, well, maybe I want to check this one out, or maybe I want to check this one out. And so it opened up this huge mess.
Yeah.
I think then there has to be like some real conversation, because I'm all for it. It's like, okay, if that's what we're going to explore together, let's do that. But there has to be a realness and a conversation about like, okay,
boundaries.
What are we susceptible to? What are we weak to? Like like you said, if we're already having a problem, because addiction is addiction.
Yeah.
If I know you have a problem with addiction, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, let me open up a bottle of wine.
Let's do this together.
Because no. Like, if you have a problem, then we need to talk about that.
Yes.
And that's
then,
a good,
like you said, boundaries.
That's the word says that, that to this man who eats meat, he's blessed. To this man who doesn't eat meat, he's blessed.
It's okay.
But it also says, don't be a burden to one another.
Right.
So
be considerate, you know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't jeopardize someone's sobriety or someone's health. So if it's not a problem and we're both really strong in ourselves and in our relationship, and this is what we want to do together, then okay, maybe we can explore that or test that. But if this is like, ooh, no, I'm already feeling and I'm trying to use this to fill a void. If I can tell we're already on shaky ground and I'm hoping that a threesome will keep it. Then that's when it's probably not the right thing.
So would we beg to ask the question then, that if we do decide to do something like that, are one of us still unhappy in the marriage, that we're not being fulfilled by one another?
That would be where my brain would go as a woman. If you're wanting to entertain bringing another woman into our bedroom, what am I not doing enough of? That would be immediate. That would be my immediate
Because
thought.
here's the thing with pornography, and here's the thing with opening relationships like that, is there's an excitement in it. There's a true excitement that gets your hormones going, and it gets you, feeling all kinds of different ways. And then we chase that, and that can become that addiction, is because it's like adrenaline chasing. It's like, well, that felt good. So then it becomes harder to actually be with one another without different thoughts or without bringing things up, from what we've already let in. And so then to try to go back to, let's just say, a vanilla night where it's like, look, let's just like, can we just make love? Can we just do this? It's like, where's your mind at? If we're being honest.
It's already been tainted at that point.
So sex is so, so, so important, because the word says that basically in a relationship, that if you're not in prayer, that you should be having sex with your partner. That's what the word says. It says like you should be together as much as you can, so that the enemy does not sneak in.
Right.
I get that for sure.
Because that's a total release of energy. That makes sense. That makes sense.
And for men, that energy release, and don't get me wrong, I know that there's some women that are horn dogs out there. I wish that I had like that stamina of my husband, and I wish I had the stamina of some of my girlfriends who are just like, I want it all the time. I'm like, well, damn, like, good Lord, what are you drinking and eating? Like, can I get some of that? What is that Spanish fly shit? But, I feel like men's drives are very, very strong. Yes. Most men, I know that there are some men that are, asexual, and they're just, they can do with or do without.
Right.
But I feel the majority of men are very physical.
Physical
is that, and
for sure.
And so even when we're tired and even when we don't feel like it. And I'm preaching to the choir here, because if my husband, if he could have it his way, I mean, it'd be 3-4 times a day.
But I love that. Look at how long y'all been together. That's a good thing.
And here's the thing. And he tells me, and I do appreciate that he does tell me, he says, do you know how many women would hope that they had that, like, I'm so attracted to you.
Right.
I want to be with you. Like,
you're a hottie.
He looks at me that way, and he desires me that way. And it's an amazing feeling knowing after this long that we still have that, but women are different too.
It's different.
I go through a list. You gonna mess up my hair. I'm gonna have to take a shower.
That bun.
Right, I gotta shower first too, so that I smell good, and then I gotta shower after.
This is work for us. This is not just guys come in and they're just like, this is great, but this is work for us.
Lint on their balls,
right?
They don't care.
They don't care.
At all. No self-consciousness. They're just, let's go.
Chris's eyes are coming up over the screen like.
Shout out to Chris.
This is real deal conversation.
Yes.
And this is what you guys have asked us also. Like, you guys want to know about some of these things. And I want to be able to speak on them, because after 24 years of being together with the same man, like, we've gone through all of these conversations.
Yes. Yeah.
We have had all of these conversations. We have dealt with many things within our marriage. It's not, I'm not speaking on it because it's I'm naive to it. 24 years with the same man.
Same.
You got to keep that shit fresh. Like,
baby.
you got to figure it out.
Baby.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'll tell you, I because that, if there, and again, addiction's another thing, but if there's ways that, there's been times that I've been known to throw on a wig, throw on a different outfit.
See, and that's
send a little video.
Switch it up.
And say, hi, my name is Jezebel.
I love that. But that's the
What's
side
up?
I
Like,
don't
are you free
know.
tonight? You know
That's
what I
the
mean?
side I don't know. That's
Jezebel.
Well, there's the spirit of Jezebel. Okay, so
Okay.
that's the prude in me, where I'm like, I am so fearful of the fear of rejection because of other issues in my
I want to
relationship.
talk about that,
Sexual
because
rejection.
That's a real deal thing. Is that some women can't get
I'm not
past
the initiator.
their own prudeness or their own insecurity.
Yes.
Of like, let me.
Yes.
But your man will probably like
He would
it.
love it.
Right.
So that brings up a good distinction when you talk about how men and women are different. Men are really physical, and that's how they connect. We often are more emotional. We're more connected in the heart.
Yeah.
And it takes that heart connection for us to feel safe enough to even go there physically.
Well, and as I was younger, and I'm not going to sit here in front with y'all, like, I went through my frivolous stage, and at that point in time, it was more about the physical, where now, me being an older adult in my later 30s, like, it's more mental for me now.
I love that.
If you're not mentally stimulating me, she ain't going to do much for you.
Right?
Like, it's not going to happen.
I love that. I love that.
It's not. So it changes. And to be the initiator on top of it, I'm not. I'm too scared. I'm too scared. I would rather just not.
So you have to, and that was something that I learned, because I was that, I wouldn't even say shy, but it was something like, well, let me put my foot in the water.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and man, like he was like, damn, like, okay, like,
I was gonna say they're gonna like it.
And then it was like, but there could be some men that don't, or be like, what the hell are you
What
doing?
are you doing?
Like, you know what I mean? This is weird.
You're right.
There are.
Yes.
But I will say, and I'm, men, you have to chime in and drop your little comments,
please.
Would it be something that you enjoyed? And
Right.
if so, then talk, communicate about those things. What can we do to keep it fresh? If somebody's feeling like they're not being fulfilled sexually in the relationship, then what can we do differently? So it's bringing back that communication into that portion and saying, like you said, like, if we could be open about all this other stuff, why can't we have a real deal conversation about what you like and what I like? But it also should be possibly something that you guys speak about ahead of time. Now, mind you, growing together 21 years, I was not like that at 17 and 18 years old. I was not, I didn't know who I was. I was insecure. I was, like, let me, oh God, like,
so that again
put
goes
the covers
about,
on, turn off the lights. I don't want you to see me.
Yes, I look fat like
You know what
this.
I mean? I don't want you to see
Turn
me.
on the lights. Turn on the music real loud.
Right?
And
Right.
Yes.
And now it's like broad daylight. Like, I don't care.
also
You
the
know?
difference of a woman and a girl.
Oof.
Yes.
I want to say that because,
about
I know some of these men that are out there cheating. You know what I mean? 22, 21
Little
years. And I'm not
girls.
saying about, I was 21, 22. Yeah, they look good. They look great. But I guarantee that the majority of these women do not know who they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the difference of a woman and a girl.
Yeah.
Two different things.
And that was something learning.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's part of that. You ask that question, like, how do you learn? You become a woman, you start to grow wisdom. You start to understand, like, this is not working. What can I do? And is it important enough to me to make that change?
Right. Right.
You know, and you need to ask yourself those questions ahead of time, because it's easy to walk away and it's easy to say, okay, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, on this side, I've seen all of these relationships and I've seen this turmoil and this hurt, and I've seen, you know, like, neither one of them actually were happy in the end, even after they left.
Yeah.
You know, and was it worth it?
Yeah.
Or should you just have stuck in a little bit longer
Did some
and
more
dealt,
work? Yeah.
You know, so sex is a big deal. I would say, you know, one tidbit would be to keep it fresh, is to role play, do fun things, you know.
Baby,
don't be afraid to try things.
Buy some toys.
Well, but be safe with the person that you're with.
Be safe.
You know, if you start out a relationship with somebody you've been in 3 months and you're like, hey, let's role play, let me put on a wig, they might be like, oh shit, they might be like, okay, this bitch is crazy, and then you better be able to hang the next 10 years with that.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. You better stay up.
Yeah. Or
those girls better not ever retire.
That's right. You know, or this is something that you grow with, you know, because I believe that when you found that partner, then you're more willing to do those things.
Right.
To make each other happy.
Yes.
So
what I do want you to talk about too, also, because I know we talked about sex, we talked about communication, but I feel like you'll be able to give us some good nuggets in reference to the money aspect. The money aspect, just you being such a boss woman, submission, what we were talking about on the live a little bit before we got on and started the podcast. Like, talk about that. Talk about how you navigate being the boss, being a breadwinner, being a strong business owner within the marriage.
So I feel, okay, my opinion, as men are as physical as they are, their ego can also get very, very bruised very quickly.
Ego for men is,
because they are the providers. They're supposed to be. This is what was ingrained in them from when they were little boys. Like, this is what you do. You take care of your this. You do that. You do this. You know what I mean? And so this was ingrained to them. And they, you know, there's this whole movement where we've stolen these men's masculinity. There's this whole movement about the feminism portion.
Especially with what everything is going on right now.
Of women stealing a man's masculinity. And it is a very difficult thing to juggle, because I was not always that. And I was always a go-getter, right? In the sense that I knew that I wanted. So back into the relationship with the man that I left, the boy that I left, the young man that I left. I don't know what you want to say, but when I left, I mean, we were not good together. There was domestics in that relationship. There was physical abuse, mental abuse. Yeah. There was drugs. There was cheating, infidelity. Now, we weren't married or nothing like that, but we were, you know, it was a reckless relationship. Right. And I knew, sitting in his parents' house in the basement, smoking on a pipe, that this was not the life that I wanted, that I wanted something different. Right. And what was I going to do differently? You know? So I was always that person that was looking at the next step. That I always was. Right. When I caught on to making money was when I got into sales. Right. And I was like, dang, okay, I'm good at this. And so what did I do? I pushed Nando to be good at it. Right. So I was like, well, if I'm good at this, you could be good at this. We could double up.
Be double good together. At this.
And I pushed him into something.
And I love that reference, guys. That is the ultimate, like, that is the ultimate boss up, like, ride or die. Want to have that woman that's going to push her husband into the right direction.
Double up.
Yes.
And I'm happy you said that, but we can also push our spouses to a point where they're like,
I don't want that.
Yeah, that's not what I want. And you can't push me in this direction. It's not what I'm going for. And vice versa. Men, you may be the person that is the go-getter that needs that, you know, like, and want that, you know, okay, this is what that looks like, and that person is not that. Yeah. So again, you have to either choose, because it's an active choice to stay married. It's an active choice to stay in a relationship. Daily. It is not like flowers and butterflies and rainbows and we're so happy.
Girl, no, it's a job. You have to work at it. It's a choice. Every day you decide, all right, I guess I'm going to do this again today.
I'm going to wake up.
Every day you can walk out the door.
Oh, yeah.
And be like, oh, dude, over there looks good.
Yeah. That looks real nice. That looks easier. That looks funner.
A woman with her hands can build her house up.
Yes.
And with those same hands, she can tear it down.
Amen.
And so we have to remember that every single day for him and for me, we have choices.
It's a choice.
Do you know what I mean? He can up and say, that's it. And he's done it. I'm out. I'm done. And I'm like, really? Okay. And there's been times that I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. And he's like, really? You know, but I pushed him into an area that he wasn't as comfortable with.
Right.
So I continued on. And then I started to feel resentful because he wasn't on the same mindset as me. Yeah, he wasn't on the same mindset. He was content, or he was better. Honestly, he was just better at something else. And I was trying to make him good at what I was good at.
Right.
And it didn't work. And in fact, you know, where Nando got in trouble in our relationship was in the place that I pushed him into.
Oh, wow. Damn. Ain't that something?
Isn't this like an epiphany moment for me right here? You know, so
there's some weight to that, and there's also some weight to it regardless. I will play both sides and say, at the end of the day, like you said, it's still a choice. Yes. So regardless of what was done, but everything happens for a reason. Everything brings everything to a head for a reason. So I would just chalk it up to that. There's 50. Oh yeah. I always say 50%. 50%.
So that's tough, because as I continue to scale, Nando has always helped me in this relationship. He's always been actively working. He is not a lazy worker in the sense of like what he does. Like, he knows he needs to provide. Even if I got this taken care of, I won't let him slip up.
Oh no.
Like, you don't get to get so content in what's going on here that that's not happening, because you will be on my nerves.
Yes.
And I will be on your nerves, and it will not work. Same thing with the, you know, if I really, really wanted to, I could have implemented Nando into this whole position.
Of course.
Of helping. But
of course.
we can't work together like that. Like, and I know that. And for me, that was like we better keep this separate. Do you know, that was really important to know that.
Right.
But how hard has it been for him to deal with a woman that does make really good money?
Yes.
And doesn't need that financial support any longer. Okay, because that wasn't always the case.
Right.
That's got to make a man feel somewhat insecure, because if I decided, you know, and he's thinking, it's not me thinking, but he may be thinking, well, if she decides to up and leave, she's got it. Like, what does she need me for?
Because the truth is, I think that women want to be wanted. We want someone that looks at us like, oh my God, I want her. Like, she's so gorgeous. I want her. But men, they want to feel needed.
Yes.
They want to feel valuable and like a real part of what is happening here.
And I think then it's our job to communicate again how they do contribute to the relationship outside of financially, if that's not it.
Right. Because you can provide a lot of things outside of just money. You can provide protection. You can provide peace of mind. You can provide all kinds of stuff.
This brings me back to that podcast that I showed you that I came in here all pissed off and in an uproar about. This idiot on this podcast basically said, you know, why would I want to date a woman who's financially stable and has her shit together? He said, basically, at that point, there's really nothing I could do for you. So
that's it. And I told her over and over again, that's his own insecurity. That's his ego speaking 100%, because he feels like he is inadequate in any other way than to provide finances for a woman. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but like, if that's all you bring to the table, then you ain't bringing enough anyways.
And if you go into a marriage with that mindset, it's not going to work.
Right.
That's not going to work.
Which is sad, because that is the kind of message that a lot of men get. They get that unless they're balling, unless they're ballers and they're bringing in all this money, that they're undesirable. Well, that women don't want them.
Also bring up another side comment, just because, you know, I hang out with some people that are still a little bit on the younger side. Some of them are men, and they are raised in that mindset in this newer generation by single mothers, where it is expected for the woman to do all.
Wow.
So it's this mommy mentality of, I need to be taken care of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's
I'm sorry, one of the most
and it is not
gross,
good,
unattractive qualities.
It's not good.
This boy
handout. What are you gonna do for me? What are you gonna give for me? Like, I'm not gonna say no names, but there's this guy that I'm friends with now, and he's dating a woman that is. She's not significantly. She's a little, I would say she's probably got maybe 6 or 7 years on him. Okay. And they've not been intimate yet. They've gone out to dinner. She pays every time. She has bought him brand new pair of Louis Vuitton glasses, outfits galore. She has handed him her bank card and said, go do what you need to do.
So that is a woman trying to keep a man.
Yeah, it is.
And that won't keep a man.
But then it becomes expected. These men leave those situations and then come in these new ones and are like, well, what are you going to do for me? What are the hell are you going to do for me?
Baby, if you just want a cougar and a sugar mama, like, just say so. If that's what you're looking for, a sugar mama, I need you to just say that.
And a man has to understand that exactly that. It is that so the woman is trying to keep the man.
Yes.
She's trying to keep the man with this. And you can't. Like,
and that's the thing. Like, a lot of these guys are saying, you know, I was raised in a single parent household. My mother raised me. That's all I've known. I have not seen a man come in and be a provider, do this, do that. So this is what I'm looking for in a woman. I'm looking for my mother.
So you asked me about being submissive.
Yes.
And I would say that I am not a submissive woman.
No, you are not.
I need and I try to make sure that I am trying to, I need to try.
No, but I actively see you go into submission in certain areas of your life. And that is one thing that I think that I can say, I've said it before, that I'm loving learning from you, because I'm not going to be submissive. Like, you're going to have to do some shit for me. You can make your own fucking plate. Like, no.
Oh, no. Okay.
Your arms and legs are not broke.
So I'm the submissive wife.
Oh.
I know, right?
No, I love it. I love seeing it, but I just, I cannot. Like, the inside me, it's probably little me is like, fuck that.
Fuck you and fuck now. I'm learning to be more of a go-getter. Like, I wish I were more like Leah in that, like, where my ambitions were, I guess, really strong. But I'm so, like, I'm a melty kind of person where I can melt into another person so easily. And so, like,
what can I do? Yeah.
You know, my husband knows, like, if I don't make his plate,
that's an amazing quality.
Oh, it's sweet.
Like, I idolize it a little bit. Like, even my old roommate, she was like that. It didn't matter what male was in her house, whether she was in an intimate relationship with them or not. And I think that was part of her Puerto Rican background, how her mother was raised, you know, and how they taught their women cultural. And she was just like, no, I make everybody's plate, and I don't sit down and eat until everybody is fed. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. And I think that
you cooked.
so
you need to get your plate first.
Smart, right?
You can learn that, right? You can learn that could just be something, you know, you also may have just the gift of hospitality within you. You know what I mean? And serving, which is that's a spiritual gift, which is beautiful. One that I admire and one that I would love to take on more is to really look and feel I know my husband, I know so many different things that he brings to the table, which one is just being the parent that I possibly wasn't when I was in the office sacrificing that time where he was at the games and he was with them and he was doing like this for me.
Right.
Yeah. And that was huge. I say it all the time and I'm going to say it again. I could not have gotten to where I'm at without the help of my husband.
I love that.
And so having that person also that was supportive in your dreams is huge.
Yes.
Because he could have very well been like, photography, what kind of business is that? Like, how are you going to make money? Like, you better not quit your job. You know, are you crazy? He could have, and he said, babe, I believe in you.
Oh, I love that. There's so many couples out there that don't do that.
Yes. I believe in you. I believe in your dream. I support your dream. And I want to stick by your side with that.
Good job, Nando.
Yeah.
You know, and so if I didn't have that support, or if he gave me one inkling of he didn't believe in me,
would you have jumped?
I may have not believed in myself.
Yeah.
You know, so having that help and that encouragement from him was huge factor in the success of everything, you know? So there's so many ways that couples can complement each other, and that really needs to be looked at instead of just being like, well, I make all the money and that's, you know, the biggest thing of everything. Well, you know, what about the kids and what about the household and what about helping with cleaning? What about helping with the mowing the lawn? Like, you know what I mean? The things that maybe some of us don't do or don't want to do, you know, small things you got to look at as these are huge. Yes. You know?
Okay, I have a funny question for you. Are there hard boundaries that you think a man should do for a woman?
Yes.
That a woman shouldn't do?
Yes.
Tell me what they
Take
are.
out the damn trash.
I was just going to say that.
Like,
why is it the trash? What is it about the trash?
Gross.
It's gross.
I don't want to touch that.
Yeah, like fix the stuff that's broken.
Right.
You know,
Oh
now
my God.
I love a woman that knows how to do it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like when I see it, I'm like, damn, how'd you learn that?
Right,
Like,
show me.
Like, yeah, 'cause I'll learn that too, and I'll figure it out. But I don't want to.
Right.
You
I
know?
want you to
But
do it.
Fix the things that are broken. Take
Initiative.
initiative, but also care in
Yeah.
what we have. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, show that you're happy with what we have, and keep it
yeah.
good. Like,
it
so
up
if
to par.
I'm holding down this part, you hold down this part.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
you know, and that's been a hard conversation for me and Nala. That's been one of
Yeah.
our arguments, is because he works, I work.
Yes.
And you've heard it.
Yes.
But is my job in your mind not a real job because I work from home and because I'm more available?
Yes.
Oh,
Not
ooh.
clocking
You know what I
into
mean?
a regular 9
You
to
were
5.
home though. Yeah, but I was working.
I was
Right.
working.
Yeah.
I was working. And so, you know what? I was working all day. Well, what was
What
I
was I
doing? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a whole
100%.
I mean, that's interesting because you're talking about like non-traditional work and like how things have evolved for us.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband did not grow up with like a dad in the house that he saw every day. And I mean, in some of the father figures he had, they were kind of whack. So
Yeah.
I think that he's taken it upon himself to like be everything
Over
that he
elevate.
thinks. Yeah. Everything that he thinks a man should be. So he's super duper smart, but he chooses to work with his hands. Like he's a mechanic. So he wants to fix everything around the house. When my car needs an oil change, he
Right.
leaves his
I just
keys
called
and he
Jason from
takes my
down the
car.
street.
Right, Jason, come on.
Come fix this. Fix it,
And here's the
Felix.
thing: I love my husband, but he did not grow up. I mean, he had his dad, but his
Handy.
dad didn't show him the ways.
You're right.
And same thing with Nando. He has not shown the boys the ways.
Right.
And so sometimes I look at Isaiah and I'm like, Isaiah, are you retarded? Like, sorry, excuse my language, but like, how do you not know that? Like, how do you not know how to do that? But
Right.
they haven't been taught a lot.
Yeah.
You know. And
Yeah.
again, this is not. I'm not throwing like
No,
I love you.
it's
It is
facts.
what it
It's the thing is that he just didn't grow up like
Yeah.
that, so he doesn't know how to fix a lot of things.
Yes.
So when I need something fixed, I have to call somebody else, and
Yep.
I've just kind of known that. I would love
That's
for
me.
him to learn that.
My tire blew out on the bower. Send Nando to come help me, please.
help me!
I can't get the tire off of my nails.
I remember when I changed a tire for the first time by myself. You know what I mean? Like now when I
Scary.
say by myself, it was a girl.
Yeah.
that came out and said, "Here's what you got to do."
Oh shit!
Like she said, "Do
You're
it."
doing it.
Yeah,
But
and she
good.
told- and
But good.
She talked me through it, and I was like, "Okay, I did it. I did that." You know what I mean? I got responsibilities now.
Right.
Good job. You're a grown up.
I would have felt so good after doing that. I'd be like, yeah.
Yes.
need
So
you.
being
I probably
submissive
would
is
have
a,
cried.
I love that. I love that you have that. I feel like that's a huge factor in
Right.
a relationship, is finding that space where you can. Like, there's ways that, like, in my mind, it's like, well, could I be submissive financially and not buy what I want? You know what I mean? But in my mind, like, well, dang, like I make all this money, so like, do I? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's been a
No.
hard conversation
Yes.
for us. Like, you know, Nando's a spender. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I'm not really a big spender. I like to save. I like to make sure we're stacking. I like to make sure that, you know, if it don't make
Dollars
Don't
make
don't
sense.
make sense.
But I went through the
Okay.
similar thing, and being in the last relationship, married to a business owner, a 3 business owner person. And, you know, that person basically telling me, you know, our relationship isn't going to work if you continue to work a 9 to 5. So work for the business. To then where then I'm asking, you know, always asking
Yeah,
for
I hate
allowance,
that.
their
asking.
business. Yeah, because it's,
Yeah.
And,
See, I
and
don't
that
wanna deal with
always
that.
becomes like that became a fighting point for us,
Right.
where
Yes.
it was, you know, I'm not frivolously spending, but why should I have to ask you for money for groceries for the house?
Right.
That should be something that I have access to.
Ooh, yeah.
And we fought about it, and then, you know, it figured itself out. But then it became bigger issues to where it was like, okay, now I'm actually within the business, making money, seeing where the finances are going, paying the bills for us. The main money is coming from the sole provider, but then I find out you're sending your parents $5,000 every month, but you're complaining about we're broke. But then I can't speak on it because it's your business, not mine. Oh, that was hard.
Yeah, that is
That
really
was,
hard.
and it's your
And that's-
family.
and that's fucked up because you guys
it's
were
so-
married.
But that was tough argument.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of me tucking my tail between my legs. I got into this situation. That's not my money. That's yours. This is your life. That's, you know, it's not mine. And that's where I lost my voice.
And I know relationships
I'm
that
sorry.
are like that.
That sucks.
But it was hard. It was like, damn, like, you yelling at me that we're broke, but you sent your mother $5,000. Like, were you even
That's
gonna?
why we're broke.
Were you even gonna ask me? Well, what do I need to ask you for?
Oh,
Okay, so
really?
I'm still in that.
That's tough.
That part.
It's tough.
with
So
you.
I'm an employee,
Pretty
basically.
much. Yeah. Pretty much.
And that ain't gonna work.
And so that's that hard factor of like,
Yes.
do I want to work together? Do we want to have these
You
conversations?
can't.
Is
No.
your money, or is it, am I making then you better pay me a paycheck.
Baby.
Yep.
Like,
Okay,
that's
Yep.
what it would come down to.
Yep.
Is that,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
let's communicate here. This isn't working for
Yep.
me. You better
I'm on
cut me a
payroll.
check.
The fuck?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So money is a huge factor.
Yes.
Money
It
is a
is.
huge factor. Let's talk really quick and touch
Yes.
base on infidelity.
Yes.
Okay, because that's another huge factor in a marriage, and we did kind of talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But how do you gain trust back after infidelity?
It's hard. I tried, and it wasn't successful for me, but I felt like that was because me and you have had this conversation. You both have to be in it.
Yes.
You both have to actively choose to say, this was a mistake, and what we have is more important. We're going to work together to fix
Red
this.
flag. If you've been cheated on, your partner says, I'm sorry, gets defensive, okay? And that's it. You need to get over this, and it's only been a month. Huge
No.
red flag. If your partner has made a mistake, man, woman, in the relationship, and they are not doing whatever the hell it takes and being by your side
For
and
however long it
for
takes.
however
Yes.
long it takes, it's probably not going to work out.
Yeah.
And that's just being real, because you have the people, you just need to get over it. That's it. Like, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
You don't get to tell me when to move
Right.
on when you've decided
Right.
to betray the marriage, when you've decided to betray our trust, our vows, everything that we built.
Yes.
You don't get to tell me when.
Facts.
Yep.
You know,
Facts.
we're going to have to
You
go
can't put
through
a
this
timeline on it.
and grow through this
Yeah.
together.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now that you said that, I just had an aha like realization when I found out about the infidelity, and I think about a month had went by and we were still trying to work on things. That was the constant, like, when are you going to stop like harboring me about this? Like, when are you going to forgive me?
And it's hard. It's
And I
hard
was like,
for the other
I don't
person.
know. I don't know. Like, you have to sit in this with me. I'm sitting in it with you. Why aren't
Because
you sitting
what-
in it with me?
What do
Facts,
people like?
yeah.
What do you think? Do you actually think that if you're together for 10 years and you step out, that in 1 month is going to be sufficient to be able to
Yeah.
say, okay,
Right.
I trust you again?
Right.
No.
It took 10 years to build this relationship. You messed it up in the course of this long, and now you want me to get over it in a month?
Yes. Yes.
And it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't
There's
work like
really
that.
no timeline.
Yeah.
To
To the
healing
point where
and
I was feeling
forgiveness.
bad. Like I was the one inflicting the pain almost at the point,
Right.
like crying in front of me. I've said, I'm sorry how many times? Like, how many more times do you need to hear it? And I'm like, I don't know. And that was the realization moment for me where what you just said, it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
Our hearts weren't in it.
If your woman is keeping their phone on lock and you do not have the code,
Ooh.
and you are married, there's probably an issue there.
If you're married, yes. I feel like if you're in like a
If you're
relationship,
married.
that's a little, but yes. Married, yes.
Because what are you hiding? And what does it
Facts.
matter if you
Facts.
know the code? Because if I'm not hiding anything, it doesn't make a damn difference.
And
don't have
if
my
you
phone.
need personal help to figure out how to figure out what your spouse is doing, hit me up on the side and we'll figure it out.
Slide into Whitney's
Oh
DMs.
my goodness. But there's a course of emotions. There's a course of emotions that your partners are going to go through on both sides. And for a woman being cheated on, she's going to go through anger.
Yeah.
Plain out simple.
Totally.
Ugly anger.
Oh, yeah.
Ugly anger. She's going to go through this sexual craving for you. Okay, where all of a sudden your eyes were someplace else and she catches notice to that and you become a priority in that list. Where that comes from, I have no idea.
It's so weird.
And it's
Yeah,
also
it
the
is.
most strangest feeling, because you don't want to want them like that, because you're pissed off and you want to stay pissed off.
Oh, I will talk
But-
about it after the podcast, but I have a story for you with my first husband. Whew.
And that is a normal emotional response to that type of trauma. There is the crying. There is the I can do all good by myself. I'm good. There's the I don't want you anymore. Now I don't find you attractive.
And then there's also the, well, what is wrong with me? What was so wrong with me that made you go somewhere else?
And 10 times out of 1, it ain't got shit to do with
Insecurity.
you.
Typically
that's
doesn't.
Right. That's right. But that emotion is real. And I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that, because we do take that responsibility on ourselves that, well, what was it and the why? There's going to be the questioning. There's going to be the I want to know every single detail that, let me tell you right now, is not important. The fact of the matter is it happened.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so hard.
Oh,
That's
but
all
God,
you
the
need to
tell me
know.
about it. I want to know.
And I want to know every damn detail.
Yeah, tell me.
And then those details will haunt your mind
Yes.
and your
Yeah, they
thoughts. And so it's just not worth it.
That's like putting salt in an open wound.
Yes. And so all of these emotions are real deal things. And then there's the fight or flight. Like, we are going to do this or not, because we tend to, if you've been cheated on, you tend to hold this chip on your shoulder that you are going to pay for this for a very long time. So it doesn't even have to be that there's this time unit anymore. It's just that this feels good now.
Right.
Yeah. This feels good that you're kissing my ass all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going to hold you to that,
was
and you're
gonna
going to
say,
continue
and I have
to
the
kiss my
power.
ass. And I have the power. That's so it.
Well, I'm
And
gonna make you-
eventually
I'm
a
gonna make
man
you
or a
hurt.
woman
Yeah, I'm gonna
will
make you pay.
leave. Because there's nothing else that they can do. So they will say, okay, well, what else can I do to show you that this is what I want? I've done everything in my power.
And then
when they
you
truly
become
have,
the abuser.
right. So there's a switch of roles here. And those are real emotions from that trauma. And on the other side of the spectrum, they go through guilt and shame.
Oh, yeah.
They go through fight. They go through all of these different aspects as well. They go, and I'll say that there's this real deal feeling of like, how could I do that? That is real. And the people that have been cheated on, they don't feel that it's real, but it's a real deal. Like there's so much guilt and shame. Like, oh, how could I have done that?
Yeah.
You know, that's something that they have to work through as well. There is the putting the tail between the legs, is that you got to let, you know, you can't, you don't get to be defensive right now.
You got to sit in your mess.
Now you got to set, yes, exactly. You made that bed, you know, you got to lie in it.
Yep.
Like, that's just the way it goes.
Yep.
But in order for a relationship to work after infidelity, two have to be willing. You have to. There has to be an active, like, okay, and you have to be able to put up with the shit that you get. And the other person has to eventually say, do I want this or not? Because all you're doing is making yourself miserable if you continuously play in this past tense game of this is what you did to me.
Yeah.
Then there's no point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not allowing yourself
hurting
to heal.
yourself, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And long term, you're hurting the relationship if you want it to work.
Totally. I'm a spiritual person, so like I have to rely on a higher power just to like forgive and get past that, because I know I can't do it on my own. I'm too petty.
Yeah.
I'm too petty. I remember the
yes.
past.
Yes.
I know what you did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'll hold it against you. Like I really need
Yeah.
help. I need
I am
Jesus,
with you.
know
Oh,
what I'm
that
saying?
shit you did 2 years ago? Yeah, I'm bringing it up.
Still remember.
Yeah. Well, and I
know?
think that that's a good point in itself, Sammy, because you have to understand that first and foremost, forgiveness is for you, number one.
It is.
But you also have to know that the sin that you created is no greater than the sin that's in your closet. You know what I mean? That the sin that's in their closet. Like, and we want to hold these standards in our own eyes, like this was greater than because it hurt me.
And you know what I think though? I think that sometimes like we don't forgive because we don't really want to. Like you said, like there's like a certain upper hand. There's a certain that like, no, you fucked up. And so you make
gotta pay
amends
for
to
this.
me.
Yes.
And
then we don't let that go.
oh yeah, no, I don't want to let that go. Why would I let the upper hand go?
Power
No.
in a
That's
relationship
me.
is power in a relationship is games.
You're going to pay every day.
Pay
the
me.
rest of your life, but that's not healthy.
No.
But it's such a that's a hard feeling to let go of.
And I really feel like next time that we get on the subject, Chris brought up a good subject.
Yes.
Basically, which was, what's the word, Chris? Give it to me.
Double standards.
We need to really kind of get into that on the next podcast.
Yes.
Double standards in a relationship, double standards, however it works, is that
Gender roles.
this is me and this is you, and then but when it's flipped, wait a minute, that doesn't work for
Right.
me now. But wait, it worked for you when you were holding it.
Yeah.
You know. So what if you were cheated on, and then you cheated?
But
And then
see,
you gotta lie
I'm
in
always
it.
that person that is like, I'm sorry. I tell people when they ask me that, it's not in my nature. It is not in my nature to be that disloyal to somebody.
To cheat?
I've never cheated on somebody. But that doesn't mean that it's not possible.
That's
that
right.
it's not
Never say
like
never.
don't ever want to say never. Weakness is weakness at the end of the day.
Temptation
and if you're
is a real deal thing for
yes,
both men and women.
yes,
Yeah.
but
So I want to end on a good note, you guys.
Yes.
24 years together with my husband. I love him dearly. I may not say it as many times as I need to because we've been together for 24 years. And those are the type of things that, you know, I have to work on. He works actively. He prays for me almost every single morning.
I love, has she told you that?
Yes, but tell us again.
He does. And that is I think that's such a huge thing. I think not only for me, but for him.
Yeah.
Because he complements our relationship so heavy in that area of praying. And being a praying man and coming over, and I can feel him when he comes in, you know, and he kisses my cheek and he's praying for the family. I know it's not just me. I know it's the boys. I know it's the family. And so I love him. I love you so much for that. He does so many things, and we have been through hell and high water in this relationship.
Yeah.
From not being submissive to, you know, hurts and mistrust and abuse, physical, verbally. You know, I was that one, you know, verbally saying all of the ugly things. And what we did differently was we continued to see that what we were working for was greater than what we were going to possibly let go.
Yes.
Amen. If I can share, anyone that has made it to this kind of milestone, they have gone through hell. Like you said, there's always a story. You can look at these beautiful family portraits and see the smiles and see them together.
Yes.
There is a story behind that.
Yes.
And it takes real loyalty and perseverance and grace and forgiveness. It takes a lot to overcome all that and still stay together. So that really speaks to your guys' character, that you guys are willing to fight for your love and to go through all the things that you go through, you know, to get to this point.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. It's something that I'm very proud of.
Yes.
Because you do not hear nowadays that, hey,
No.
like when you say you've been together this and they look and they're like, wait, how old are you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or like, well, wait, how old are your kids? You know, and I'm glad that we have been able to be an example to our boys that this is what a relationship looks like. You know, and this is what you do.
Especially to young men. Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's very important to me because, you know, I'm raising men.
Yes.
I am the person that's raising, and he is the person that are raising these men who are going to go into these relationships, and they are either going to be the example as well to what they've seen and what they've witnessed, or they're going to spiral, you know. But I'm proud to say that, you know, one thing that surprises me in my firstborn is that, you know, he's been with the same woman, and he told me, he says, Mom, I don't have a desire to go after anybody else. I don't have it. Like, I don't want to. And that surprises me as being a young man. Being 21 years old, who is very good looking.
Yes.
And I know that women have complimented and seen. I mean, older women, you know, I'm like,
watch your mouth.
Down.
Like you can mama bear still, you know, and to not have that
desire,
right?
But
to go
it's what he's been groomed and raised around.
Yeah. So very, very important.
Values.
So,
You guys. You guys spew it out every day. I promise you. You're one of the only families, and you guys may not sit at the kitchen table, but man, like even when you guys have dinner, like you guys sit down and have dinner as a family, regardless. Like that is beautiful.
Thank you.
The work that you guys do on a daily basis is gorgeous, even through the yucky stuff.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you have been a witness to that.
Me too. I needed to be. Don't start.
I was gonna say, are you guys gonna cry?
You already started making me teary-eyed when you started talking to Nando earlier. Don't start.
Well, I just feel like, you know, if there's anything that you can ever be to somebody, is just be the example. That's it. And just don't tell them anything. Just let them watch.
Yes.
That's it. You know what I mean? And because people can talk all they want in anything that they do.
Word.
But if you are what you say you are, it's going to show. So you just don't have to.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I love that you've shined love to Whitney and to your family.
Yeah. Yes.
So
love you guys. Love you, Nando.
Yes.
Congratulations, Nando.
Thank you. And you guys, so next time we will be kind of talking. I hope you guys love this episode. I hope that you will please like, subscribe, comment,
go
anywhere. You know, we definitely try to watch out for those things, and we'll try to get back in comments. I should actually just give you guys the access to that so that you guys can, if I can't.
Get on.
Do you know what I mean? Because there's sometimes that I can't. So Tell us, your thoughts on this. And the next time we are going to be talking more on the subject about double standards next and how that plays out in our lives.
Good topic, Chris. Yeah. We're excited.
All right, guys. Well, we about to jam out. Here we go.
Hey.
What between the sheets? What? Anniversary edition? What?
Yeah.
What?